Well, every week we show you the money on this Workforce Wednesday, but in the face of an economic downturn in Alaska, you may be wondering, are there jobs and well-paying careers to be had? Well, this morning's guests say, fear not. Here to show us where things stand, state labor economist Neil Freed and Martha Peck with the Alaska Process Industry Careers Consortium. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. Neil, how would you characterize the big picture for Alaska's employment, and what are you noticing as we come to the end of the first quarter?
When we come to the first quarter, the end of the first quarter, it's not really that different than last year. We're continuing to lose jobs. And when we look at our estimates, they're sort of in the same place that we've seen in the previous years, spreading to some other industries, but then, moderating some in others, like in the oil industry, like in construction. We're seeing some losses in retail. So, we're still sort of in that recession right now.
You hesitate when you use that word. I saw that.
So we have you brought some data with you. You love the data. We'll start with some data on unemployment so we can kind of get a picture where things actually stand, and it looks like compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah, the unemployment rate's not bad. Anchorage's unemployment rate's in the low fives, which is, from an historical standpoint, not too bad. Ours is a little higher than the rest of the country's, but not that much. So, although we've lost jobs, I think what's also happening is those that have lost their jobs have left, and fewer people are coming looking for employment, and which is good for those people that are still here. For us that are still here, it means a less competitive job market than it might otherwise be.
And we have more data on federal civilian employment. What does this graph show us? Well,
that's just an example of, not every industry is losing jobs, and this is one of those. Federal government, after actually many, many years of actually losing jobs, we started seeing growth in that sector last year. And so there are more Alaskans that are finding, for example, employment in that particular industry.
Next one's about our population. What does that say about, we'll jump, sorry. The next one is actually about one of the industries that is, quote unquote, perking up. That's the coffee industry here in Alaska?
Yeah, it's interesting. We're one of the biggest coffee drinkers in the country, which makes a lot of sense. And so someone asked me, well, what's happening to that industry? Because I knew I'd written an article about it a couple of years ago. So I looked at the numbers, and surprisingly, employment in that industry was still growing here in Alaska.
Love our coffee.
Yeah, and the official Anchorage population, just under 300,000.
That's an interesting story and gets to the workforce to some degree. Yes, our population grew last year a little bit, but actually more people moved out of Anchorage in Alaska than moved in, which again, sort of mutes the competition in the job market. And that's the other thing, is we have a lot of turnover in our population. People come and go more so here than most places. That creates opportunities for people because people leave their jobs. Let's say you have a military spouse and a military person, and they leave and their spouse goes with them. They had a job in the civilian labor market. That creates an opening for somebody.
And speaking of, people looking to start a new career or a new job, there's a few career fairs on the horizon.
Yes, there are. There's one today out at Mat-Su College. I'll be at that one. There's one tomorrow in Bethel. I'll be there. There's one on Tuesday in Fairbanks. I'll be there. And following that, there'll be one at Abtech in Seward, and so on.
It's a lot of job fairs. Neil, just to kind of wrap this up in a bow, what would you say what's the bottom line when it comes to for job seekers right now?
Well, you shouldn't be discouraged. Yes, you hear that word recession thrown around, which means the job market is more competitive, but there's still definitely action in the job market. Employers are hiring people. There is turnover in that job market. It's just, it's just a little more difficult right now.
All right. For more information, you can, of course, always make contact with Martha over at APIC. Her contact info is up on your screen. Neil, Martha, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
On this Workforce Wednesday.